Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. Today I'd like to continue on with the October 2020 project, as it were, wherein I am trying to present as many videos as I can throughout this month of October, talking about horror films or films that have a horror edge to them in terms of a genre bent. And so far it's been very fun for me and I've been enjoying myself very much. But as of now, I've been talking about works of cinema. Today, I'd like to focus our attention on not a piece of cinema, but rather a piece of television, or to be more specific, a television series that was actually initially started in terms of its broadcast in 1979 and ran for nearly 10 years. It's a series from the United Kingdom, one of my absolute favorites, one that I remember seeing first when I was young, growing up. As I indicated on a number of occasions on this channel, I did spend a few years of my childhood in the United Kingdom, and during that time I was able to catch on television every now and again an episode here, an episode there of the utterly splendid, oftentimes so scary series of television, which is called Tales of the Unexpected. Tales of the Unexpected. This happens to be a network DVD set from the United Kingdom with a certificate rating of 12 here. This is one of my absolute favorite TV series from the United Kingdom. As I say, I remember seeing episodes of Tales of the Unexpected when they would appear on television growing up in the UK. There would also be instances where I think you could see episodes of Tales of the Unexpected in North America, I think broadcast on specific stations. And so this was a series that I think had a great reach across the world. But of course it's a UK series, and it's produced by executive producer John Wolfe, and it had a great theme song, the Ron Grainer theme song, which accompanied the absolutely iconic and unforgettable title images, or the opening credits and the closing credits actually, of the dancing woman, the silhouetted dancing woman in front of the flame, and the card motif and the games with a slightly sinister, somewhat macabre twist or edge to it. That was an absolute perfect way to open up the series, which was Tales of the Unexpected. This is a series that is not a one single continuity based series, so it was actually an interesting exception to that. But for the most part, you're not getting one continuous continuity, but rather this is an omnibus anthology type where each episode is its own episode, and then you go from episode to episode and you have a new set of characters, a new story, and the like. The series, as I say, started in 1979, and the first few seasons were actually seasons of episodes that were adaptations of short stories written by Roald Dahl. And in fact, you could get in some of these early episodes, in fact, you'd have fireside chat type of introductions with Roald Dahl, the author himself, where he would actually introduce the episode that would come. And so if you know the writings of Roald Dahl, you will realize that these are stories that have an interesting twist to them. They are sometimes dealing with very macabre or very somewhat unpleasant situations, or situations that have a surprise ending to them, oftentimes filled with a lot of acerbic wit and dry wit and humor and the like. And so this started as the Roald Dahl adaptation series, and then as the series progressed over the years, we began to get more episodes that were based on stories or scenarios written by other authors and other writers. And sometimes you'd have really just very famous writers like Patricia Highsmith and Ruth Rendell and others. And so, and you'd have therefore a really wonderful variety and plethora of different sorts of stories that had a lot of guest appearances from very famous actors. You'd have Joan Collins, John Mills, John Gielgud, Ian Holm, for example, and others. And it would just be this wonderful theater of television where you'd have a well-written story with really top-class actors, and that would have this surprise ending to them. And, oh my goodness, this is the sort of thing that I loved watching as a kid. Now, when I say surprise ending, I should say, I mean, it's in the title, right? Tales of the Unexpected. So we can therefore have many different types of stories throughout this series. And so I want to impress upon you the idea that there is so much variety. Sometimes we may get a story that is based in a real dry, ironic wit that is twisted upon at the very end in terms of an even further applied irony, maybe for humorous effect or maybe for another, maybe more dramatic effect. So sometimes we'd have humorous episodes. Other times we might have real straight thriller episodes that will then have their own little twist at the end. Other times we might have, related to that, more horrific episodes that have a real chill to them. And then sometimes we might have a tender, very warm-hearted episodes that might lead to a certain surprise that is not necessarily cold-hearted, but rather the opposite, maybe a very warm-hearted, unexpected way that a story ends. And so the point I want to impress upon you is that we can get potentially so many different types of stories that I think this series, Tales of the Unexpected, I think really has the potential of being so entertaining throughout. You might enjoy some stories more than others, of course. Some stories may work, other stories may be a little bit, but still, overall, that's the nature of an anthology series like Tales of the Unexpected. And for me, anyway, I would say overall the quality is quite stellar. Now, I bring it up here in the context of, as I say, Halloween in October, horror, suspense, mystery type of flair to the works that I'm talking about here. And I can honestly say, and I can really genuinely say, that while it's not necessarily applicable to absolutely all the episodes in Tales of the Unexpected, I can let you know that there are a good number of stories in the series Tales of the Unexpected that can be related to or otherwise qualify as works that could be very relevant in the October season in terms of scary works or slightly moody atmospheric works, or sometimes just all-out horrific works that are really chilling and really scary indeed. So it really depends. It really depends on what the story is, as I say, because this type of series lends itself to a whole variety of tone and style. But with that, of course, the possibility is such that you might get a really scary one. And my goodness, there were some episodes of Tales of the Unexpected that just, they were just chilled me to my very core. And so that even now, I think about them, and my wince. I was watching one recently, and I just was I was closing my eyes. I really couldn't quite deal with it because it was so. It reminded me of those memories that I had when I watched the episode as a kid, and so it was just really quite frightening stuff. And I love the series for that. And so this is Tales of the Unexpected. This has so many interesting aspects to it. As I mentioned, the music is really quirky and odd, which really makes it even more memorable. in a very positive way. And you can just laugh out loud at the kind of cruel fate of irony, or maybe the opposite, the hand of fate lending people some kind of divine retribution, or meted out justice in the world, or something to that effect. And so what you will be getting is a real satisfying chunk of television drama that will be always filled with wit and humor and intelligence. And sometimes they might have a little chill or scare or surprise for you along the way. So this is one of my absolute favorite episodes, Tales of the Unexpected. There are too many episodes to mention right now, but if I could mention a few, just off the top of my head, that I really loved. I love for example, maybe an early one would be The Landlady, and maybe one that came a little bit later would be, what is it, The Flypaper, and there were a lot of them. There's one that's particularly, there's one called Neck. There's another one called Skin. That's another interesting one. And one of my absolute favorites, the one that I remember seeing as a kid. Maybe I want to, if my memory is correct, I remember seeing it as a kid. It was broadcast on some kind of timing when I was living in the UK in the late 80s, and it was called The Memory Man. And so I remember watching the episode The Memory Man. And well, I'll just leave it at that. And it was quite it made quite an impact on me. And you know, I would have been however old I was, maybe 7, 8, or 9 or something like that. But yes, when I was that age, watching an episode like The Memory Man was that's one that I will never forget. And so I remember when I got this set for the first time, maybe a year or so ago, and I was so excited because I love Tales of the Unexpected. And I remember I got the set, and the first episode I wanted to put into the player that I wanted to watch was The Memory Man, because that's one of my absolute favorites. Again, because it was one of the ones that I remember watching as a kid, and it was it lived up to the name of the series, let me put it that way. So yeah, and so with that, my friends, this is not necessarily a straight direct horror series, and so we are not getting scenes of violence or any kind of overt gore scenes or that nature. This was a TV broadcast series after all, and so I think there were certain limitations in terms of what could be shown and what couldn't. Well, so for anyone who might be interested, you're not going to be getting any direct and shocking scenes of violence per se. It's all in the story, and it's all in the writing, and it's all in the mood and the acting and the characters and the lighting and the music and the ambiance and all that. But I think its strength is in the writing, and so if you can, if that is your cup of tea, and if you're interested in some really well-written episodes of TV that have the potential to shock, have the potential to make the hair stand on end, but also have the potential to make you chuckle, to make you laugh, to make you smile, either if it's meant to be a directly placed joke or if it's meant to be dry wit and cold irony. Whatever the case may be, you're going to be getting that and a whole lot more, I guarantee, in this a truly macabre, slightly wicked, somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but always very fun and always very entertaining series of television. This is Tales of the Unexpected. Okay, my friends, so that's it for now. And so until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great, great movies. Thank you once again, my dear friends, for your very precious time. I know you're very busy, and so I really appreciate you taking the time to stop by. I hope you're well. Have a great week wherever you are, and cheers.